استراحة الآن.
Hello everyone, welcome in. I hope you're having a good day today as we get ready for this SATAC match between TAW and the Blue Arrows. Now it's time for me to do my job. Let's roll that dice. It's on the Caucasus, so we will be running on 3, 2, 1, map number 4. And Blue Arrows picked heads, which will be 1 on the dice, which means that TAW picks the starting side. So just let me change the map here. Map number 4 is Clear Winter Day, Tbilisi versus Sukhumi. So let's get that set up and running now as I get the dice rolls out of my face. Are you guys excited? I'm looking forward to today's match. I think this one's going to be a good one. This will also be streamed on Bilibili. So we'll have a large international audience today, which will be very exciting. Perfect. And then I'll pass over to the competitors the information of who picks the starting side, and you guys will be able to spectate the match in this best of 3. Awesome. All right. Make sure the TAC views are all connected. All of our data is being transmitted and verified. And we are recording. Everything's looking good and feeling good. Hello everyone, how you going? Welcome in Spaceman, Night Assassin, Spade. Good to see you, Mika. Good to see you too. Mustang, Spinnin'. And it looks like the blue arrows have picked the red side. Actually, no. This is not the correct TAC view connection. Perfect. All right, everything's looking good and feeling good. It is a wet and chilly day today in the UK, but that's not a problem. And TAW has picked the blue side, which is very good. Let's have a look at the stats for these teams so far. So, I have cast one of the Blue Arrows matches. Blue Arrows with 1 win and 1 loss so far. TAW with 1 win. So TAW's second match, undefeated thus far. Blue Arrows 50-50 on wins and losers. Hello, Shorty Guns. Good to see you too. And starting up on the blue side, we have Croncat, Alephro, Blaze, Spectrum, and Newbie2 in a fairly stacked, heavy lineup of F-15s. The members of TAW are veteran pilots of these competitions and always put on a fantastic show, particularly in the F-15Cs and particularly in long-range fights. So, if you're looking for a lesson in BVR, you may be in for a treat today. The Blue Arrows tend to prefer F-16s, the workhorse of competitions like SATAC, but no F-16s in this lineup today, as it looks like the remaining 2 aircraft for TAW are going to be F-18s. When is 51st next match? Let's have a look on the schedule. I'll scratch my chin here and check. Not for a while, it looks like. Looks like their next one might be the 17th of May. Weapons going on wings for the F-15s in their aggressor liveries. On the red side, we have Name It, Overload Dog. Someone's going to have to tell me what this name is. What are these characters? In 2 engines we trust, I know, in thrust we trust. But representatives from the Snow Owl Squadron here. The Blue Arrows being a Chinese team, Snow Owl Squadron is contributing their J-11s for the cause. Looks like we've got an F-15 here as well. And an F-16 so far. So 2 J-11s, an F-16 and an F-15. 2 more planes yet to appear for the members of Blue Arrows. One interesting thing that you can do with F-15s is you can tell whether or not their engines are fully started by whether or not the inlet ramps are dipped or if they're up. You can see that the closest one to us and the third one, or the third one in line away from us, has its inlet ramps down. So I don't think their engines are fully started yet, but the one between them does have its ramps up, which I think mean is where they default to when they're switched on. But I might be getting it the wrong way around. WA. So the aggressors are based in Washington. And possibly not Western Australia. I do like the double Sidewinder loadout on the F-15. Lots of people will tend to prefer to bring 2 Sparrows and 2 Sidewinders, but just like this loadout here, actually, bringing the Sparrows on the rearmost belly pylons and putting 2 of the AMRAAMs on the outside is kind of like the other standard way of doing things. Thank you, Mustang. Kind of you to say. Yeah, but they are actually, TAW is putting out quite a lot more Sidewinders than you usually tend to get with the F-15s in SATAC. So we might get some very cool Sidewindering action. And, oh my goodness, this must be one of the most Sidewinder heavy teams I've seen. Oh, haha. And we've got the double ugly loadout as well. Channel points are switched off during SATAC matches, just because there's nothing to use them for. And we've got the double ugly loadout, 1 double pylon of AIM-120s and 1 double pylon of Sidewinders. In fact, TAW is bringing just about the most Sidewinders I've seen any team bring on a SATAC match. You didn't know you can switch off channel points? Yeah. It's under viewer rewards in your creator dashboard. All right. The 2 J11s lining up. EW and AGR in the F-15 and the F-16, taxiing down. And here's the Blue Arrows livery. When is the match starting? The match is starting as soon as everyone is lined up and ready. To make sure that Blue Arrows is all good, as the Snow Owl Squadron J11s are... In fact, let's go have a look at their loadouts. They have a couple of options when it comes to the J11. You can bring the R77, along with being able to bring R27ERs or ETs. ETs are infrared heat seekers, and they have a red round tip, and R27ERs are pointy tip and are active radar homing. Looks like we've got a mix on one of the J11s, and the other J11 is bringing 2 R27 ETs. Another interesting fact about the J11 and indeed the MiG-29 and Su-27 as well is that the little electro-optical targeting system always tracks the pilot's head. Who's your favourite to win? I think if I were a betting man, I would bet on TAW, but it would be close. But let me just chuck up a poll. Who's going to win round 1? TAW or Blue Arrows? And we'll run that for 10 minutes, so you can tell me who you're here for. TAW is a really, really good and well-disciplined team, veteran of having had fought in a huge amount of matches, and they really are just like veterans. They're really good at the basics, you know, all of the fighting strategies and techniques. You'll find them, I think, very, very effectively covering each other and being really, really proactive in long-range fighting. With that being said, the Blue Arrows is kind of an amalgamation team of the veterans of several other teams. So they have representatives from the Snow Owl Squadron. I think they may have 1 or 2 other people from other Chinese teams. And Chinese teams tend to have a looser style than Western teams, but also very high levels of individual skill. So my personal experience with Chinese teams has always been that they don't fly as closely in formation. They don't fly as close in formation as Western teams do, but also sometimes just like have individual moments of brilliance where they just do something completely unexpected. They also like to go for strategies that take advantage of being able to having a chance at getting a long-range kill. Often you'll see Chinese teams have one player that goes right up ahead of everyone else and kind of gets the first low probability of kill missile off, but really good at catching people who aren't expecting to be engaged that quickly. The J11s are an interesting choice. The SD-10, I think, has been underperforming a little bit in the competition thus far. I think the AMRAAM is making a bit of a better showing of itself. Just because the AMRAAM... all of these fights seem to be getting lower and closer together. Having had done SATAC for years now, I can say without a doubt that at the moment, the number of merges that we're getting that get incredibly close is like astronomical compared to how it used to be. Something about the way that AIM-120s can be notched against ground clutter means that they can be really, really effectively defended against, even at close range now. And the SD-10 also suffers from the enormous amount of drag that the SD-10 has, and the thickness of the air down low in DCS. The best way I've seen the SD-10 work, actually, is shooting it from basically top down. So maybe these J11s will want to stay up super high and go for downward angle shots towards low-level opponents. But the thing is that TAW is flying F-15Cs, and I'm telling you now that they probably won't relinquish the high-altitude fight unless they know exactly what they're doing. So it'll be curious. If it all stays high altitude, then the SD-10 does work really well. So does the AMRAAM. They're kind of one for one. SC-10s have a bad habit of if they don't get radar data for long enough for them to angle back down towards their target after a loft, then they will just stay at a high AOA. AMRAAMs seem to have a better ability to eventually poke themselves back downwards and catch targets with their own seeker head if the lock is broken early. Is it legal to shoot down the AWACS? Yeah, but to get to the enemy's AWACS, you would have to fly through their team, and it's just like... If you've managed to get into that position, the match is quite possibly already over. They're further away than they look. Unfortunately, TAW has picked the brown paint job, you know, a snowy winter day, so they will be visible, but I think they look cool. We should be getting the ready call from BA shortly. Awesome. Report when ready. That F-16's landing gear is about to give up. Nah. It's not that bad. But the F-16 definitely does skip leg day sometimes. Saga, thank you for the follow. It'll be the Blue Arrows leading the way, followed by the Snow Owls. It is disconcerting how narrow the F-16's landing gear is, though. Especially when you've got the planes like the F-18, which almost look like they're kind of squatting, you know? Okay, both teams ready. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, and we'll watch the leaders of TAW start taking off. The F-15s light their afterburners. Wake turbulence is on SATAC servers, so you do have to be careful about your takeoffs. The two F-16s of the Blue Arrows have taken off, and it's up to the J-11s to follow them. We'll switch over the music for the battle mode. That's the J-11s of the Snow Owl Squadron, representing here the Blue Arrows. Make their takeoff. EW and NKVD still to take off. Meanwhile, Alefro and Blaze begin heading to the north and south. They will be shortly followed by their teammates, Mago and Newbie 2, in the F-18s, as Spectrum and Croncat are Still waiting for their turn. Thank you for the follow, Double Helix. It's time to go. Full fidelity SU-27 would sell like hotcakes. Looks like TAW are the favourites for this one. I'm not surprised. I think anyone who's seen TAW fight will probably come to a similar conclusion. Could you guys let me know if you would prefer to look at this in the altitude or the satellite map? I know that the satellite map on snow maps can be a little bit blinding sometimes, so let me know if you'd prefer topographical. We have the two BA members in close formation with each other, immediately demonstrating that I don't know anything about what I'm talking about when I say that Chinese teams typically don't fly in tight formations. The blue arrows just passing their AWACS, actually, I see on the map. You prefer satellite? Satellite, alts, okay. So, BA, lead the way. Overload Dog, and I really need to figure out, I'm going to call him 76 for now. But if anyone can translate what these Chinese characters mean, I would appreciate it, because I would like to call them by their proper name. Overload Dog, already nearly up at 40,000 feet, correction. As blue enters the battle area, that means that TAW have arrived on the scene, but the blue arrows are going to get there shortly afterwards. I think I'm going to keep it on altitude just for readability at the moment. Yeah. We'll keep it on satellite for now, but if it gets too confusing, we'll switch it back. Alephro cruising up to 33,000 feet and going very fast. Or looking to establish some control over the zone here. Orange Cat, okay, thank you. Orange Cat, the northern J11, up at 36,000 feet. Thank you, Swiss Rolls, I appreciate that. Orange Cat on Blue Arrow. Well, I don't know about you, but I've always thought that the stereotypes around Orange Cats are, they tend to fight a little bit over the brain cell. They don't always get access to it. All Orange Cats share the same brain cell and they have to take turns, I think, is the, has been what I have been told. 71 nautical miles between Alephro and Blue Arrow Group 1. Overload Dog and Blaze, separated by 73 nautical miles. With planes this high going this quickly, that is well within engagement range. Alephro only 66 nautical away from Orange Cat. But here we can see Orange Cat has made a decision that I wouldn't make, but They really like to do this. He's not even brought the R73 short-range heat seekers on the outside pylons. So Orange Cat wants this plane as fast as possible. As clean, as fast, as quick as it can possibly go for this exact moment as Alephro begins entering about 50 nautical miles worth of range. Blaze and Overload Dog getting very close now, relatively speaking, 45 nautical miles. We'll see someone shoot any moment now, and I think it might be Blaze. Blaze takes off, lofts an AIM 120 and fires the first missile of the match. Goes defensive and flips right over. Alephro fires an AIM 120 at the two members of BA who have now split up. Orange Cat turning in now towards Alephro and firing off the SD-10 in the southern group. Overload Dog fires an SD-10 in the southern group towards Blaze. That's a 30 nautical miles shot. Blaze's AIM 120 not actually aimed at Overload Dog, was aimed instead at Name It, the two members of the central group for the Blue Arrows are getting pushed hard by the initial F-16 launches. F-18, F-15. Man, what is with my brain today? This AIM 120 making its re-entry from space. If only it were going for the furthermost one, it would be crossing it. You can see it just crossing over the backside of the missile now. Seeking out AGRS. The SD-10 fired at Alephro has not found him, and the seeker head is looking for something. Hopefully it doesn't fall down on Newbie 2. The SD-10 that was fired towards Blaze as well, no factor. The initial shots now losing speed in the thicker atmosphere, and it's starting to look like none of the initial shots have connected. 4 AMRAAM shot, 0 hits from either side. Alephro fires an AIM-7 from the F-15. One of the defining characteristics of this season of SATAC is that due to some of the changes Eagle Dynamics has made towards missiles, Fox 1s are actually extremely useful to have the ability to throw around in many different ways. This AIM 120 is all out of steam and heading for the Caucasus Mountains. Blaze and Alephro now dropping down to lower altitudes, so not sticking up in the high atmosphere, perhaps realizing that NVKD and Orange Cat want to control the high fight. Croncat and EW are approaching each other now within 40 nautical miles. This is pretty much exactly when I'd expect to see them shoot at each other. Both in F-15s. One of them hasn't got its fuel tanks on though. So EW with a little disadvantage here. But does fire. Croncat fires at the same time. Croncat's missile actually left the rails just a little bit earlier. And Croncat was likely heading a bit faster, but at a slightly lower altitude. EW defending quite hard, and Croncat having had turned entirely cold. Close range shots at low altitude from Blaze. Chasing down one of the BA F-16s. It's going to be right near him, but doesn't have the steam to catch up. No factor, and expertly dodged. The one fired in response, running out of speed. Hopefully Margot doesn't fly right into it. Margot and the F-18s are designated low-altitude combatants with so many Sidewinders on their wings. Gonna feel right at home with fighting in amongst these mountains as NVKD is having to defend through the mountains against the push of Alephro and Spectrum. Margot manages to defend against a AIM 120 shot and gains a little bit of altitude to push the advantage. Alephro and Spectrum getting free rein to push in the north as Blaze looks to merge with Name It directly beneath, pardon me, Orange Cat, who is at 41,000 feet. Name It and Blaze fire missiles at each other. Name It's missile impacts the terrain. Blaze's missile is not tracking the correct target and is going I don't even know what that could have been fired at because it was not tracking at all. Alefro chasing AGRS NKVD with all their might. Orange Cat now only 17 nautical miles away from Spectrum with a huge altitude advantage. However, Spectrum is in amongst the mountains, does have the terrain to try and defend against these SD-10 shots. However, what did I tell you at the start of the match? The best use of SD-10s at the moment is to fire them from high altitude downwards. And Orange Cat has been listening to my advice and has taken it, and let's see if I was right as this missile seeks out the F-15, and what did I tell you? Result. Down he goes. That's the first shot down. Alefro appears to have had successfully chased down his quarry, though, as NKVD crashes into the terrain. Margot gets an R-27 fired at them. Where is this missile going? I have no idea. Maybe at Croncat. Orange Cat and EW controlling the high altitude fight. This F-18 climbing up to high altitude to launch up at Overload Dog. Overload Dog is right above. Does this missile have enough steam to get away? It's crossing the distance. It's still going fast, but it loses track. You're joking. Unbelievable. Blaze, now having to defend against multiple R-77s, gets impacted and introduces himself to the terrain. TAW in trouble here. Margot now, the F-18 still with plenty of close-range weapons to use. It's not over yet. It's currently a 5v4 as the two F-18s, the planes with the opportunity to make the biggest difference of all in this terrain, right ahead of each other. And indeed, one of the F-16s finds one of the F-18s, launches an AIM-9, flares get dumped, and it's a merge. The Blue Arrows, F-16, with a small advantage heading into the fight. The other F-18 has been impacted by an SD-10, and so does the one in the merge, not getting to secure that kill onto the F-16. In the north, Alefro has managed to chase away his attackers, but not quite take anyone out. Croncat manages to splash Name It in the F-16. However, Name It had almost no missiles left, so was not a high-value target, but is about to merge head-on with the other Blue Arrows F-16. Turns cold against it. This might be a mistake, as it now pulls into attack position with the missile already off the rails. Croncat does not get away with it. Alefro fires an AIM-9 up towards the high-altitude J-11. No flares being popped. It will be up to speed, and the missile impacts. Alefro has to defend against the missiles fired in response. Successfully gets away from it. Who have we got left? Well, let's look at Alefro supplies. He's got one AIM-9 left. He's being chased down by AGRS, who has two Sidewinders left. Overload Dog in the J-11 has no weapons left, down to guns. EW in the F-15 has two AMRAAMs, two Sidewinders. So EW is going to have to be the difference maker here. Alefro has one missile. I've seen people win in difficult situations, but they don't come much more difficult than this. Overload Dog limited to guns. I reckon if Alefro knew this, he might try and take this one out with guns to save his missile for one of the deadlier targets. With that having had been said, I think Overload Dog here is being sent in as a sacrifice to exhaust any munitions that Alefro has. You can see the J11 just in front of him. Alefro launches countermeasures. One of the AIM-120s, one of the two AIM-120s that are left in this match, fired down. Will it find this F-15? It does. Ah, rotten luck. As EW manages to secure the final kill of the round and the win for the Blue Arrows. I told you this one was going to be good. I told you that this one was going to have a little bit of everything. Let's go and have a look at the TAC view and see if there's anything that happened that we may have missed. The opening engagements, much of what we've come to expect. However, interesting that Blaze and Alefro chose to fire on the F-16s in the center, then fire at the J-11s. You'd have expected them to treat the battle as a head-on, but turning in and using the AIM-120s against these two F-16s and basically forced them to kill their altitude and take them out of the fight for no insignificant amount of time was an interesting one. In fact, doubly interesting to think that the launching of these two AIM-120s pincered these two F-16s down into the area where the entirety of the rest of the fight happened. The rest of the battle was all centered around the hills that these F-16s were forced down into with those initial AIM-120 shots. NKVD/AGRS managing to capture the attention of Spectrum and Alefro for quite a long time here. Having two planes chase away this J-11 while a quite critical fight is happening not that far away to the south. It would have been interesting to see what could have happened if Alefro had turned south instead, or in this instance west, and tried to contribute to the fight with AGRS and name it. They do eventually splash him though. Spectrum does eventually decide to join in on the fight south, but unfortunately there isn't anyone around to force down Orange Cat, and the SD-10s do better than the AIM-120s in these down angle shots. TAW are very good. They will change their strategy. They will not be dissuaded by this. It looks like their plan actually worked as intended. It just didn't have the intended effect. They did manage to dominate the airspace to force BA to fight in an area that of their choosing. But they didn't manage to get the kills, and I think a large part of that is as a result of the J-11s being allowed to operate at high altitude uncontested for so long, and as a result they just never really got the opportunity to work the low-level fight uninterrupted. Unfortunate that Nago didn't manage to get the chance to turn in. These two F-18s were very heavily laden with AIM-9s and Sparrows. They were perfectly equipped for a fight down at this level. Had they had the chance to operate and not be interrupted by the J-11s at high altitude. Because, once again, Mago gets caught by exactly the same thing, which is an SD-10 fired from high altitude downwards. This is the deadliest way to kill people at the moment. It's so reliable. I'm telling you guys. Croncat does manage to take out AGR, but unfortunately loses the dodge here against 9K720M, even though it was a good evasion. Alefro, the last one left, does take out. You see, what needed to happen was this kill needed to happen at the start of the match, not at the end. If they had taken Orange Cat out here, then it would have been an entirely different story. Looks like Overload Dog is leading the way back home for the Blue Arrows. I think it's a dangerous game underestimating the J11 in the high altitude fight. It's got some real power behind it. The SD10 performs wonderfully when it's got the speed it needs. Those massive wings, to make up for the fact that the J11 is the size of multiple buildings, those massive wings do provide good lift at high altitude. Hello Hex, welcome in. For those of you just joining us, we're watching as the Blue Arrows attempt to secure the win of the first round by landing safe and sound. That's a pretty paint scheme. It is. And in fact, even though the Blue Arrows livery is very simple, I really like the way it looks. Something about it, you know? Reminds me of, like one of the US airshow teams. What's the F-16 team called? Is it the Thunderbirds? Or am I getting mixed up? The one thing that does annoy me about the J11 though is that it has a landing parachute and no one uses it, even though it's really cool. If your plane's got a parachute, you should use it. That's just what I'm saying. Oh, it was the Thunderbirds? Yeah, their livery reminds me of the Thunderbirds, which I think is just gorgeous, you know? I love it. But this Snow Owl Squadron skin here, to me, this is a 10 out of 10 example of a squadron skin. The only thing I don't like is that I think their logo is flipped on this side. But maybe that's something about the way that this skin works. Hex, you would know better than me. Speaking of which, Hex's wonderful livery of me for the F4 is now available on the user files of Eagle Dynamics website, for which I am extremely grateful. And uh-oh, someone went a little bit too fast on takeoff. Pop tire alert. The only piece of advice I have for any prospective DCS team is do not AI generate your logo. If you need to find an artist to help you make a logo, tell me, I'll help you find someone. Don't use an AI generated logo. Just makes you look cheap. Yay, parachutes! Ah, cool. Perfect. Well, that secures round 1 for the Blue Arrows in what I think I saw Tech say in chat was quite a surprising match. I am inclined to agree. Alright, who's in next? Looks like the F-16 is setting up for a pattern. And EW as well, just to return in the F-15. I mean, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, SATAC, let's be honest. If I were the Snow Owl Squadron, or if I were Blue Arrows, I would definitely be thinking to myself, we got away with that one. Are we going to be able to do it again? Because I almost think that we would expect the members of TAW to come back with a vengeance. They will not take this lying down, and they will come back with a very, very neatly adjusted and perfectly hated plan. Alright. Everything looking good for EW's landing. And then we'll be restarting. And there they have it. The J-11 celebrating the landing of EW. Let's get this thing restarted. And there we have it. Mission restart. Alright, guys. while we reset for the next round, let's hear a word from a couple of our sponsors. Firstly, let's hear from Masterarm.
Running a dedicated DCS server can be complex, time-consuming, and expensive. And after all that effort, you still might not get the smooth, seamless experience you're looking for. That's why virtual pilots and virtual squadrons choose MasterArm as a ready for immediate use solution and for peak efficiency. With low latency, high stability, and uncompromising performance, MasterArm ensures that every maneuver, every decision, and every shot counts. Stay mission ready. Fly with confidence. MasterArm has your six. Get your server at www.masterarm.de.
Thank you very much, Masterarm. And for those of you who aren't subscribed to me, there will be an ad break now. Just gives us a chance to get the ads out of the way before the match starts to make sure that you guys don't get ads anytime during the match. So we'll just take a quick be right back and get ourselves ready for the next round. So stand up, stretch your legs, get a drink, and I'll see you shortly. Welcome back, guys. I hope that you had a nice little break. Things are going to keep happening here as the teams have swapped sides. The TAW lineup hasn't changed enormously. Blaze and Alefro in their F-15s. As Margot and Newbie 2 in the F-18s. Getting the most out of these airframes, I feel like, is one of the most important parts of this match for TAW. And we can see that Margot is switching over to 4 AMRAAMs, 2 Sparrows, 2 Winders. Meanwhile, Newbie 2 is carrying the same double ugly loadout as last time. Spectrum and Croncat. AIM-9 heavy. The AIM-9 was really well used in the first round to take out that high altitude J-11. For no other reason than, if you can get those AIM-9s off without radar locking them, they can track for a lot further than you think. They bleed speed really quickly at low altitude, but at high altitude, if the target doesn't maneuver, which they wouldn't be if they didn't know the missile was coming, it can reach out and grab them sometimes. Can you guys let me know in the poll that will be appearing on your screen shortly whether or not you which team you're supporting for round 2? TAW were the favourites for the first round with 70% of the vote, but ended up getting knocked out. So let's see if you guys can predict better this time. The Snow Owl J-11s, fighting at high altitude, got a lot done in the first round. There will have been some words in the locker room between the members of TAW about what to do about Overlord Dog and Orange Cat. I just realised we've got 2 J-11s, one's a dog and the other's a cat. I wonder if they get along. Alright, yeah, and I'll switch it for you. Girls got rhythm. Spectrum, Croncat just disconnected, so hopefully everything's okay with them. As the Sandy Brown aggressors from TAW are on the line. Love the white on the flankers, me too. I especially love the Chinese livery that they use sometimes, like the J10s with the pure white livery that has like the black radome at the front. And then a few red accents near the tail. Just looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, can we not in the West just go like, alright, I understand that the F-35 has to have radar absorbent coating and stuff like that, but at least, mate, let us, like, paint the F-15's cool colours, you know? It's not going to change anything. I reckon F-16 pilots should be able to paint their own aircraft any colour they want. The Blue Arrows are lined up. Triple bagged up on a Sunday. Looks like Croncat's just having a little bit of trouble with VR. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you should be able to get a wrap on your F-16, you know? I mean, you could get into one of the really crusty old National Guard F-16s that's been at the same airbase for like 40 years. And then when you roll the plane inverted, all the cigarette butts and dust and dead skin just collects on the roof, and then you can vacuum it up with a little hand vacuum, you know? That'd be a great way to clean your plane. Fly upside down and vacuum the roof. Pull some high Gs. Cockpit included Dyson? Yeah. Okay, so on the runway for the moment, for the members of TAW, we have Blaze, Alephro, Mago, Newbie2, and Spectrum, waiting on Croncat to join. Then, for the Blue Arrows, we have 9K720M, Name It, NKVD, EW, along with Orange Cat and Overload Dog. Fingers crossed for Croncat, everyone touch wood, and hope that everything is working. For a vital member of TAW, Croncat, I have cast many matches with Croncat fighting. Very experienced, very capable pilot. Well worth being on a team as prestigious and experienced as TAW. I wonder if the lights, because these formation lights on the sides of the F-15s, I wonder if they're bulbs, or I wonder if they're LEDs now. I wonder how much lighting on aircraft is being replaced with LED lights. Is it all of it, or are there still a lot of bulbs, because that's what's like, what you're still able to use? I catch myself looking up into the sky at night because there's a lot of air traffic over the UK, watching planes fly overhead, and I just think little tiny distant blinking lights. Oh dear, Croncat is having trouble. The other thing I do like about the Chinese Air Force is they have very pretty white gloves. You crawled out of bed when you remembered what you were missing. Oh no! The first round was a stunner, Lakel. LED light controllers are fickle bitches? Okay. I hadn't even thought about that. We're doing very well, Lakel. There's some weirdness with night vision goggles and LEDs, so I'm not sure. No kidding, Night Assassin, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, so maybe it is all bulbs. One of the most interesting lights on any of the aircraft in DCS is the police light that the Mirage F1 has. Because the Mirage F1 was specifically designed for an air policing role, it has a light that's on the left-hand side of the fuselage, so imagine if this was a Mirage F1, the cockpit is here, and it has a light that's here, and it points sideways. So the intent was that the pilot would be able to fly up to an unidentified aircraft and use the police light to shine a light into the cockpit so they can see who's in there. Looks like it's even Stevens for TAW and the Blue Arrows. You had the luck to see a J11A in real life? Really? I would love to see one. I was desperate to see something like a SU-27 or a MiG-29 fly at an air show. That's very true, Shorty Guns. It's an interesting point. Speed limit enforced by aircraft. In an aviation museum, those gears are absolutely gigantic. Yeah. I mean, it's a huge airframe. Huge airframe. Doesn't the Air Museum in Ohio have a SU-27 now? More expensive than tubes anyway. True. Alright, looks like TAW is just about ready to go. But I watched TAW take off last time, so I want to watch Blue Arrows take off. PLAF is the blue gloves. Ah. You got the genuine gloves of the Naval Aviation Army? Oh, that's so cool. Makes the 29 next to it look small. I mean, you put an F-16 next to a SU-27 and you're like, wow, okay. Not even in the same category of size. Okay, both teams ready. Get set. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And off they go. Indian Air Force SU-30s. Interesting birds. The R-27s in the exhibition are taller than an average person. Yeah. I mean, how long is an AMRAAM? An AMRAAM is, what, like... Is it 6 foot longer? 6 foot? I think it's maybe 6 foot. I have no idea. Olo Dog and Orange Cat waiting to take off. Alefro and Blaze have made it off the runway as the F-18s take off. The meteor that had been dropped and had a bent fin at Riyadh. Oh no! I went to Riyadh last year. That was so much fun. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. F-16 versus a flanker is a Mini Cooper to a Cadillac? Absolutely. Imagine the enormous Dommy Mummy J11 towering over the submissive, twinkish F-16. Someone draw the picture! If you do want a good example of the size, though, see if you can find a picture of someone standing next to these intakes. There was some great pictures. I think they come from like 2017 or 2016. The Ukrainian Air Force was practicing landing flankers on highways and roads, and one of their flankers had landed and slammed into a street sign, and there's this image of this give way sign or something like that just smashed into the left intake, and it's bent around like it folded like a sheet of paper. So real for that, right? Is Savior in tour? No, not today. I'll go through the list. We have Alefro, Blaze, Mago, Newbie 2, Croncat, and Spectrum. As Croncat and Spectrum take off. MRAM 120C is 12 feet? Oh wow, that was a lot bigger than I expected. The F-15E is a big bird as well. I got to go and have a walk around of an F-15 Strike Eagle at Riyadh last year, and I got to have a look at the nav flare and the targeting pod and all that sort of thing. Interestingly enough, I was asking him about the nav flare, and he says that they really don't use it anymore. They don't bother with it because night vision goggles are good these days, and that the nav flare pod was kind of on the plane just because it was always on the plane. But they did say that they like terrain following radar a lot. Oh, thanks, Z. Yes, this was the one I was thinking of. Ginormous. Great photos. I must admit, though, I really think one of the coolest looking aircraft of all time has to be the MiG-29. The PLAF white gloves and DCS are from the past. Now priced at $10 for a kilogram. I should get some. So you say that they switched over to blue gloves now? Because let's have a look. White. He's not even holding on to his throttle. No. How's he going to slow down? Alright, red enters the battle area. F-15s going north and south. They look like they're following the same strategy as last time. However, the F-18s are being much more aggressive through the center. Newbie 2 and Mago, both at 24,000 feet. and making their way into the battle area with some aggression. Ew, no, not the MiG? Really? I love the MiG. Spectrum and Croncat, not as much of a hurry to get into the circle as their comrades. Croncat passes by, the friendly AWACS. Name It and 9K720 are making their way straight through the middle. If this plays out like last time, they'll both earn themselves a AMRAM from the opening shots of TAW. Fulcrums are good looking, all planes are good looking. Which aeroplane would be the prettiest if it was a girl? I know the correct answer. I'm curious to hear yours. I am desperately curious as to how worth it is to not bring the R-73s. Because the R-73 is such a good close-range missile. Like, arguably the best one that there is in this environment. The AIM-9M is a little bit more resistant to flares in my experience, but the R-73 can turn harder. Is it really worth not bringing them? The weight reduction? Is it that big? Both of them are not bringing the R-73s, but I guess I can't argue because it worked fantastically in the first round. Catalina flying boat. There was... oh man. I want to live in the 60s when you could buy a Catalina flying boat for an army surplus store for like 10 grand and turned it into a caravan. Blaze is living up to their name and pushing hard into the north towards Overload Dog. They are 60 nautical miles away from each other. Alephro is 50 nautical miles away from Orange Cat and 45 away from 9K720. Newbie 2 and Margot are 50 nautical away from the central group of F-16s from Blue Arrows. Overload Dog here is at 40,000 feet. Interestingly enough, has brought an R-77. Haven't seen too many R-77s in SATAC this year. People tend to prefer the SD-10s, but I don't mind the R-77. It's good up close. As Overload Dog launches one of the SD-10s towards Blaze. That is a 33 nautical mile shot from 40,000 feet with about as much speed as you're going to get. Let's switch up the music. Sorry. As the battle proceeds, Alephro with an SD-10 coming in fires an AIM-7 at Orange Cat to get them to go defensive. Blaze has given this SD-10 the slip. It is not tracking him. You can see his contrail just off to the left-hand side of the missile's perspective. Blue Arrows F-16s have both fired an AIM-120 each, and they are heading for the central group. Hopefully Newbie 2 doesn't get caught out by these, but it may be trouble. Newbie 2 is going to have to defend really hard against this missile, traveling at 900 knots. Should have the juice to get away from it. What about the second one that's coming? This one's at 900 knots, so that one should be available as well. Alephro, with an altitude advantage, is 17 nautical miles away from Name It and 9K720. The SD-10 that was fired a long time ago has the slightest chance to catch out Croncat here, but it's only traveling at 700 knots. Alephro fires yet another AIM-7. This one looking to force down the J-11s, I think. I think they have realized that the pinch point is the J-11s, and anything they can do to reduce the armament from the wings of those J-11s and to force them down to lower altitudes is worth it. This SD-10 loses track of its target, but if it reacquires Alephro, it is going to have potential. The other J11 is up at high altitude, 37,000 feet and traveling with speed. Looks like the SD-10 did find Alephro again. Alephro now notching. Alephro needs to turn away from this now, but it looks like he has notched it successfully. Good missile defense. Cool and calm under pressure. TAW have come out of this and said it's not going to be that easy. When will the F-15E be available? I don't know. People can fly the F-15E in this competition, and some people do. Having a backseater is useful. Alephro baits out an AIM-120 shot. Hopefully has enough cover to get away from this one. This one's going for the trees, flying underneath the power lines. Kaboom. Unfortunately for the birds living in that tree, that's going to hurt really badly. This one's chasing down yet another member of TAW. This SD-10 being brought down into thicker air, but he's traveling at 1,300, 1,200. Oy! Actually manages to spoof it straight into the ground underneath them. Just enough evasion to get rid of it. AGR, name it, is right in the thick of things, being pushed by Mago, Alephro, and Newbie 2 all at the same time. Newbie 2 gets an AIM-120 for their trouble, fires one back, needs to get down to defend against this one. Looks like it's for the trees. Impacts, no damage dealt. The 120 fired in response towards Name It is going to have to chase down a cold target at low altitude, so it's probably not going to have the legs to make it. But that does mean that Name It is not able to turn around for a while now. R-27's coming out for Alephro. Both of these are heat seekers. This one's not tracking. What about this one? Straight for the mountains. Mission with a lot of potential to kill, but no damage dealt, and Mago gives another AIM-120 to slip. Blaze and Name It merging with each other now. AIM-120 comes off the wings, along with an AIM-9M. Dips behind the cover. Name It actually manages to evade both of those missiles. Both of them go into the terrain. Blaze now has to chase Name It down as Overload Dog has an AIM-120 coming up to try and find him. Manages to get away with it through sheer altitude alone. What about this one making the climb? Gets close. Doesn't make it. Overload Dog flying over the head and uncontested as Name It has missiles coming in from all angles and gets blown up. Blaze successfully chases down the F-16. Overload Dog flying over the top of all of the members of TAW, dodging missiles and more missiles and more missiles. How is he getting away with this as Alephro gets splashed by an SD-10? It's a 5v5. Orange Cat directly above the enemy. Good opportunity to shoot down. Newbie 2 in trouble here. Overload Dog fires an R-27 ET. Heatseeker takes out one of the Hornets. Newbie 2 is now surrounded. Spectrum and Blaze in F-15s are still alive and well. Overload Dog is getting away from yet another of the numerous missiles being sent up. This AIM-9 looking for a member of Blue Arrows, but runs out of steam before it gets the chance, and Newbie 2 gets splashed. Overload Dog does eventually go down, taken out by an AIM-120 from Spectrum. Overload Dog gets taken out by 9K720, a team kill. Spectrum carrying the hopes and dreams of TAW on their shoulders at the moment. What's Blaze got left in the missile department? Blaze has a 120 and an AIM-9M. Spectrum has 4 AIM-9s and 1 AIM-120. Have the Blue Arrows managed to discover some specialized way of evading missiles at high altitude? Do missiles go for chaff now? We'll have to check in the TAC view. Maybe chaff is the secret. Spectrum looking down the barrel here of an opponent, and I reckon looking to get rid of that last AMRAAM. It makes its way off the wings. Rocket motor's firing. Passes over the top of one of the members of the Blue Arrows. Is going for the one in the rear, which just got splashed by Blaze. Blaze manages to take down one of the remaining members, and now there is 3 versus 2. 2 SD-10s going down towards Blaze, who needs to notch these perfectly and stay alive. This missile goes for the... misses by centimeters. What about the other one? But 9M is right behind him. It's a complete merge here. Alephro needs to turn this around. An AIM-9 comes off the wings. Blaze is right behind him. Both of them are firing their guns at this F-16. Managing to take it down with gunfire. Blaze manages to pull the trigger that gets him down. It's now on Orange Cat. Orange Cat with an R-27 ER and ET on the wings. EW has AIM-9s and 2 AIM-120s. This J-11 with 2 enemies directly beneath it. An AIM-9 comes off the wings and finds him. One of the J-11s is down. It's a 2 versus 1. The last 2 AIM-120s in this entire match are launched from the wings. Spectrum fires as AIM-9M. At the still alive member, I didn't realize this, but 9K720 is still alive and still flying. He's not out of the match yet. These 2 AIM-120s, the last 2 remaining, make their way down to the terrain. Impact, but Blaze isn't dead. Blaze is damaged, but still alive. We have 2 burning planes that are currently still flying, and they are merged with each other. Spectrum is fighting against the damaged F-16. It's coming after him with a vengeance. Meanwhile, Blaze is completely engulfed in flame. An AIM-9M short surely to finish the job against this F-16. Flares come out. It goes for the flares. Of course it goes for the flares. Why wouldn't it go for the flares? 1 AIM-9M left. Blaze, I think, has intercepted the terrain. Blaze runs out of power. It's a 2v1. EW in the F-15C still has Sidewinders. Spectrum having to contend with 2 planes, one of which is a burning F-16. It looks like the F-16 has pushed its luck too hard, though, and it has completely spun out. It's EW versus Spectrum, a 1v1 to decide the match. There's a missile in the air, and it's heading straight for Spectrum. But it doesn't have track. Does EW have anything left? He's got 1 AIM-9M. It comes off the rails. Is it going to track? It goes for it. It's not going to track. Spectrum and EW have to finish this one with a gunfight. Spectrum fires his last AIM-9M. They're down to guns. Not a missile left. This is a huge moment. 1v1 to decide the match. 2 F-15Cs with guns only. And EW gets a wing taken clean off. As Spectrum may have just won the match with guns. Amazing. We'll make sure everyone's down. AF-15. And that's it. That is, the longest Spectrum can get home, victory for TAW. Oof. Well, that's enough to keep you interested, isn't it? Damn. Let's check out what happened in the TAC view. I'll just make sure that it's not too loud. Alright, perfect. Oh boy. That was something else. Let's have a look at some of these missile dodges done by the J11s. No, he's not dumping chaff. The missiles just refuse. Why wouldn't these AIM-120s track? Can anyone think of any reason as to why these AIM-120s are just going stupid? They're just losing him. Doesn't even look like it's a notch. They just go... They go stupid. Can anyone think of any reason as to why that would be happening? Because Overlord Dog is just getting away with it. So many missiles coming up here. This one does exactly the same thing. Tries to go for it and then just goes insane. So many 120s coming up towards Overlord Dog. And they're just not tracking. Why isn't this tracking? What is happening here? Like, the Seekerhead just didn't feel like it today? All you got is toggling jammers, but you can't toggle the jammer in the J11. The jammer takes a couple of seconds to switch on. And jamming at that range would be burned through anyway. Once the AIM-120 is actually in the air and tracking, it's not going to do anything. No speed, but they had plenty of speed. So many of them just flew straight past him. I haven't got a clue why that happened. It's jamming? Okay. Jammers? So you reckon it's jamming that allows... jammers allow you to notch at any altitude and outside of normal notch gate. Do you have evidence of that, Cert? Not that I don't believe you. It would be interesting to see what your testing was like. The hero of the moment, Blaze, making an amazing showing of themselves. One of your 120s did the same thing in your last game. J11 got some kind of high-powered jammer. Oh, it gets the same jamming pods that go on the wingtips as the Su-27. I wouldn't be surprised if the stats were identical. I've never considered the jamming pod on the J11 to be amazing. It's kind of the same as every other Flaming Cliffs aircraft. J11 had 1.5 Mach speed better than missile. Well, not that I want to disagree with you, but let's find him. Who am I looking for? I'm looking for Overlord Dog. Go here. Like, he's traveling at Mach 3.1, 1.3, but this missile's going at Mach 2.52, you know? And what's it getting notched against here? It goes straight up towards Overload Dog, so you think that just, well, yeah, okay, so it just falls into the notch filter, I guess. But I feel like that should have hit. Especially against a clear sky, you know? Do the same while they are jamming. Okay. Either way, a lot of ordnance wasted up into that high altitude fight. Mago getting unfortunately caught out by the ET. Wouldn't even have known if that missile was coming. It's like the 120s were just getting out G'd. Yeah, but they're not pulling that hard. It's because they do the wiggle. They do... You see this here? At this exact moment, they do the AMRAAM shaker. And I cannot fathom what inspires them to do that. Like, you're going at Mach 2.6. He's traveling at a predictable speed. And then the missile just goes haywire like it lost him and reacquired him. And then loses him again. Does it just kick... Is it the missile, like, kicking itself out of its own gimbal limit on the seeker head? So when the missile turns this hard away from the target here, at such an off angle, that it's actually losing the seeker head track, and then, yeah, right at this moment, the seeker headlock gets broken, and then it just doesn't reacquire him? Maybe. Maybe that's it. Maybe something is causing the missiles to wiggle and then exceed their seeker head limitations. Anyway, all of this stuff gets tested by smarter people than me, and there will definitely be some interesting discoveries made with a little bit of this analysis, especially if you've got people like Certain Tech looking into it. So let's not worry too much about coming up with solutions at the moment. Spectrum is making their way back home. That would... I would be very, very stressed after doing that if I competed in a match where that happened. Yeah. What I've been saying for days, for this entire SATAC season, actually, from the first matches, I've been saying one thing. I reckon the real thing, like, something that's really underutilized at the moment is Fox 1s. I think Fox 1s are quite reliable at the moment. They have good range, and especially missiles like the R-27ER, I think are massively underutilized and potentially really deadly at the moment. Because if Overload Dog was up there, if a single one of those F-15s sent up a Sparrow instead of a 120, I reckon it would have hit. So Tech, my advice to you, because of course me, as someone who doesn't even compete in SATAC at the moment, I know all the solutions to all the answers, but I think the secret sauce is the R-27ER. I think it's not... I think we haven't seen what it's capable of in the current DCS environment. Thank you for the follows, guys, and all of the support that you've been giving me. Make sure that you follow the links that have been appearing in chat for the 51st PVO. The 51st PVO being the organisers of this kind of event, wouldn't be possible without the enormous amount of behind-the-scenes organisation that goes on with this enormous competition. So make sure that you follow and support them, join in on their Discord so you don't miss any of the matches hosted by people other than me. You can also join in on my Discord if you want to have a nice place to hang out and yap about airplanes, and if you want to catch up on any memes, then you can follow me on Twitter as well. I have no idea how to pronounce your name. Beesugard. Beesugard. Thank you for the follow. Please tell me how to say your name correctly. And, in fact, Beesugard, you have brought the total follower count up to 4,200. Thank you very much, everyone. For 4,200. I really do appreciate it. Actually, one thing I wanted to check was what happened to Blaze, so just let me open TAC view for a sec. Because we saw Blaze with one engine on fire. The question is, at what point did he catch fire? Oh, no kidding. So, what I think happened was the AIM 120s landed so close that they damaged his aircraft. I mean, how far is that? That's 530 feet? An AIM 120 explosion at like 600 feet? Would that damage your aircraft? Or was he damaged somewhere else? I just can't quite figure out why his engine caught fire. Other than a close AIM 120 hit. How close was the other one? This one was further away. I wouldn't imagine... I didn't think the AIM 120's explosion was that big. Oh, Bees Churgood. Thank you very much. Wait. Is Spectrum out of fuel? No! Don't tell me Spectrum's out of fuel. Are his engines off? There is nothing happening back here. How far is he away? He is at 17,000 feet, and he has 19 nautical miles to go. He can't make it. He's not going to make it, no! He's not going to make it. Oh my goodness. Someone calculate the angle. That means that this could be a tie. Tech, if he doesn't make it, we go to round 3, and they can go for a tie, right? It's going to be on the line. Oh my god, I would be so stressed. I'm not sure why he's dropping this much altitude. Maybe he feels like he needs to keep speed. Yeah, I thought so, Tech. Yeah, I don't think he can make this. I think it's too far. How far has he got left to go? Oh, it's going to be so close. He's got 9 nautical miles left and 5,000 feet to work with. He's travelling at 250 knots. I'm actually chewing my fingernails right now. I'm so stressed. It's going to be close, but he can't make it. It's too far. How far now? 7 nautical miles with 4,000 feet. He's travelling at 188 knots, 184, 3,800 feet. Fuck, this is going to be deadly close. This is going to be so close. He's at 175 knots now, 3,000 feet. 175, 29,000 feet. 29 feet. 2,900 feet. 5 nautical miles to go. Nah. Not with 2,500 feet. You can't go 5 nautical miles with 2,500 feet. He's not going to make it. He's not even going to make it to those buildings. Unless he does it perfectly. 157 knots. (1,400 feet), 147 knots. 3 nautical miles. Heartbreaking. Oh no. No, he's lost it. He's going to crash and explode here. Damn. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. Damn. Oh, God. Bugger. Well, he doesn't make it. It's time to get ready for the next round, where TAW can compete for the tie. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Alright, time to prepare for round 3. With TAW competing for the tie. We're going to run some ads and get everything ready for the next round. So, time to stand up, stretch legs, and get yourself comfy for what's about to happen. Welcome back, guys, to round 3. After TAW manages to tie the previous round, they are presented with the opportunity to go for the tie. On the lineup, we have Croncat, Spectrum, Alephro, Blaze, and Newbie 2, with one left to come in. Meanwhile, in the red corner, we have Orange Cat, followed by Overload Dog, EW, Name It, and MKVD. Just joined, TAW lost. TAW won the match, but didn't make it back to base. The F-15 ran out of fuel and didn't make it home. So the round was a draw. So the Art of Warfare is competing for the tie, and Blue Arrows are competing for the win. Alright, a poll is going to appear on your screen. I want you to answer truthfully. I want you to tell me who's going to win round 3. $9K720M, Orange Cat, Overload Dog, Name It, NKVD, and EW are all making their way. Blaze, Alephro, Croncat, and Spectrum start their taxis. As the two F-18s patiently wait their turn. Hopefully Croncat's VR is not giving them any trouble. A bit worrying that he stopped, but fingers crossed. Hey Cookie! Hey Ace! Blaze and Alephro fine and dandy though. These mighty F-15s managing to put their guns to work in round 2. We see the sparrows on the wings of one of the F-15s. We have sidewinders as well. The missile economy, a real consideration that needs to be taken. One thing that'll be telling to tell if we have changed tactics at all will be whether or not they bring the R-73s, and they still don't, amazingly. No R-73s for the Snow Owl J-11s. What about their extra J-11? That one's bringing R-73s. So, 3 J-11s, but only 1 pair of R-73s currently equipped. Thank you for the follow, Woo60. Hope you're doing well. Spectrum is back on the move. Looks like Croncat is A-OK. Good news, good news. Alright, the members of TAW line up. Looking good. This is their opportunity to go for a clean win round and tie up the match. I suspect we'll be hearing the ready call shortly. Blaze and Lefro at the front. Mago and Newbie2 in the middle. And Spectrum and Croncat in the back. Spectrum, the hero of round 2, unfortunately does not make it back. BA reports ready, and I reckon TAW will as well shortly. Okay, both teams ready. 10, 9, 8. Stopping it. I always try and update people's liveries, and I am happy to take as much time as needed to install them and check them. But of course, I will gladly make sure that your liveries work. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. And up they go. Alefro and his wingman proceed down the runway. Name it and 9K720 run down the runway, and the Snow Owls will be the next in line. The Snow Owls power on. Will begin their high altitude ascent. Prepare to seemingly have an invulnerable shield against missiles. NKVD and EW, the next two to take off. Margot and Newbie 2 have safely made it off the ground. And it looks like Spectrum is last in line. And it looks like we're 50-50 on support. Oh, Tech, I only support the 51st. He's got no time for any other team. The Blue Arrows did surprise enormously here. They're giving plenty of time for the last pair of F-15s to take off. Well, you're in luck, Cookie, because whenever you're facing off against the 51st PVO, you can just wait for a little bit and the match will automatically become a 6v5 when Technitinium shoots down Spade. And yes, everyone should always approach the matches with good intentions and fighting spirit, because you never know what might happen. There is always hope. Just like the Blue Angels have hope against TAW, the relatively new Blue Angels, with some veteran pilots facing off against the veteran TAW here, I think, is a prime example that you should never give up. The Blue Arrows in their pair are heading right down the middle with their F-16s. Cookie, I'll give you the inside scoop. Here's some secret information from behind the scenes. You're facing the 51st PVO. Don't tell anyone, but I'll bet they're bringing flankers. Don't tell anyone I told you that, but, you know, just heads up. Probably flankers. Blaze is making their way towards the circle. Just about to cross in. And Blue takes control of the battle area as Blaze enters the zone, along with Alefro. The Blue Angels pilots have crossed the threshold as well. 9K 720, leading the two-ship of Afterburning Vipers. Overlord Dog in the south, followed by EW. Still 100 nautical miles away from Blaze. Newbie 2 is 100 nautical miles away from the central group, and Alefro is 92 nautical miles away from them. I'm not supposed to know. I was playing on Growling Sidewinder on Friday, and then I was like just taxiing through spawn, and then I saw a J11 spawn in, and I was like, oh, that's a cool looking skin, and then I realized it was because it was a 51st PVO member that had put their livery on, and I forget that if you just have the custom livery that someone has, you can see it when they put it on. I was like, oh. "75 nautical miles between Alefro and the F-16s. Blaze 79 nautical miles away from Overload Dog. The J11 pushing up to 40,000 feet. Does make me curious as to why one R-77. Tech, can you imagine, or any of the flanker pilots, why would you want to bring an R-77? Does it do something better? Is it better at close range? Blaze and Overload Dog 67 nautical miles away from each other now, so that distance is closing quickly. Alefro and Orange Cat 68 nautical miles. 9K 720 is 60 away from Alefro. "60 nautical miles between Overload Dog and Blaze at the moment. Blaze is at 27,000 feet. Overload Dog is at 43. R-77's better at close range. Okay, so that's his close range missile. Yes, no R-73s. We were talking about this earlier on in the match, that they're not bringing the R-73s. And I wouldn't have thought that the difference in speed would have been that massive, but both of the Snow Owl J11s are not bringing R-73s at all. Off-bore sight capability. I mean, those grid fins mean the missile can turn really hard, but it just means it has a load of drag. So I find that often it has a little bit less effective range than the other AMRAAMs, but it does maneuver really well. 40 nautical miles between Alefro and Orange Cat. There is an SD-10 in the sky. Launched by Overload Dog, this one's heading for Blaze, and is a 30 nautical mile shot. Blaze must surely know that this is coming. That SD-10 is now 12 nautical miles away from Blaze, and does not have track. Hopefully it doesn't reacquire him, because it does have potential here. Blaze over the top of Blaze, no track. One SD-10 in the north fired towards Alefro. I think the conscious choice here is trying to exhaust the missiles of the J-11s up high. Not to engage them, but to empty them out of supplies. Might want to drop a little bit of altitude against this SD-10 though, as it is still travelling at 1,200 knots. Not like this, not like this, Alefro. Not like this, Alefro. It's going to be really close, actually. Not like this, Alefro. Oh no. Ooh. Ooh, hello. Okay. Alefro gets extremely lucky there. Surviving the explosion. Does not appear damaged, as that Seeker head has a funny fuse to it. Spectrum now turning in. An AIM-120 comes out towards Overload Dog, who fires an SD-10 in response. This SD-10 does have track. That was an SD-10, actually. He got slapped. He's not dead. He's alive. Spectrum manages to defend against the SD-10 fired towards him. Overlord Dog is now very cold against this missile, which is chasing him, but he's pulling it up into high altitude and is running out of steam up this high. Alefro pushing towards Name It and EW. EW at 42,000 feet. What is Alefro's plan, is the question. Blaze fires a 120, possibly towards 9K720. Indeed it was. 9K720 is cold against this missile now, and is travelling at 614 knots. So we'll likely get away, as Orange Cat chases down Blaze. SD-10s are chasing down Alefro again, who's dipping, docking, dodging and diving down at low altitude. This one runs out of steam. What about the second? The 120, not much better. Alefro gets away. But Newbie 2 is the first to fall, getting splashed by an SD-10 launched by Orange Cat. Newbie 2 gets hit, meaning that one of the F-18s for TAW is down. Orange Cat at 40,000 feet, with only the R27s left. Launches an R27R. This one pulls a lot of angle, but it looks like the lock was broken. And that one goes straight for the terrain. Because Orange Cat has to contend with this 120 that was fired in response. Doesn't have the speed to catch up with him, though. Orange Cat is down to one R27T left. Croncat here with all of their AMRAMs. Can see that Orange Cat is up there in the contrails. Chases up Orange Cat as Spectrum gets involved in the close range fight. Has a Name 120 launched at him. That one goes for terrain, his shot. Also for the trees, Spectrum trades, no damage dealt. R27's in the sky, Heat Seekers here, but it looks like they don't have the speed or potential to go after anyone. Alefro now has to contend with this SD10. Dodges it. Hello, Harm. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. R77 fired. Overlord Dog ditches the close range missile. Gridfin's working overtime, trying to chase down Croncat, as Overlord Dog has to evade their own missile. Manages to get away from it. Can Croncat get away from the R77? Yes, he can, as Spectrum merges with Name It. The two of them see each other at close range. Spectrum gets impacted. Does Name It get away? Name It manages to spoof the missile into terrain. Margot and Blaze are chasing down 9K 720. Alefro has two high targets ahead of him. EW still has missiles to work with. One AIM 120 left. Fires it off into Blaze and Margot. Croncat by themselves here, with three AIM 120s left, carrying a large amount of the remaining missiles for TAW, as this 120 comes down and nails Blaze, but Blaze doesn't go down. Margot does, though. Margot gets splashed. And my TAC view just crashed, sorry. Which means that it's Blaze and Name It. Doesn't manage to notch the missile. Blaze manages to take down 9K. Blaze only has Heat Seekers left, but both between Croncat and Blaze, they have plenty of options. Orange Cat has one R27T left available. Blaze fires Name 120 at 9K. It was the other F-16 that went down, correction. No dice, this one goes into terrain. This J11 looking to find the F-15. Goes for the guns. No joy. May overshoot here, actually. The F-15 getting into a winning position. An AIM-9 is a shot. Gunfire comes out. Another AIM-9 comes out. It impacts. The J-11 goes down. Orange Cat gets taken out, but Blaze, similarly, gets dealt with in turn. And BA wins the round, so long as they can make it back to base. Let's make sure no one's still flying. Let's have a look at what happened. Did manage to get TAC view restarted in time. So this is when my TAC view crashed. I apologize for that. I got it started back up as quick as I could, as Name It takes out a left row here. Yeah, he definitely probably wished he had that R73. Name It gets splashed by Blaze, at which point that was when Overlord Dog started locking in. Blaze fires off that 120 towards 9k, which goes into the train. The R27 ET was fired by Orange Cat here. And the problem with ETs is that if they get seen, they're so easy to flare. They fall for flares like AIM-9Bs. They don't even try. So we had Orange Cat come in down and try and take out Blaze here. That autocannon on the, in fact, is it a chain gun? What is it? Is it an autocannon on the J11 or is it a chain gun? One AIM-9 comes off, goes for the flares. Managing to dodge the gunfire as well. Let's see how close it got. Oh man. So unlucky that that didn't hit. Very, very close call for the J11. That was almost it. But an AIM-9M is not going to fall for the flares when you're directly behind them. However, Blaze immediately gets dealt with by 9k, the person he fired on initially. 9k having the presence of mind to turn straight back in and help out. And catch Blaze off guard. At the same time, Croncat was here, fighting with Overload Dog. R27 ET and ER comes out simultaneously. Oh my goodness, chat. When I'm right, I'm right. I'm telling you, R27 ERs, there's so much potential in them. But this one is for the trees. Croncat successfully flares the ET and ER. Oh no, what happened? Was he too low? How high off the ground was he? Do you reckon he hit trees? If so, desperately unfortunate. So that's why we didn't see what happened to Croncat. Oh boy, that match wore me out. I'm gonna need to lie down. I'm gonna need a cup of tea after that. He could have soloed them all with the missiles. Yeah, a real shame that Croncat didn't get a chance. I think when he went down, he had 2, maybe 3 AMRAAMs left. The real heroes for BA this match being the J11s. I mean, we questioned them at the time, not bringing the R73s. Like, are you sure? But something about their high-altitude performance really ripped. These TAC views, I think, are going to be hot property amongst the SATAC community. I think particularly the performance of the J11s up high, is something that I think a lot of competitors are going to want to have a look at, because I think we were all shocked by some of the behavior of a few of those missiles in flight. And I think we were all a little bit surprised, actually, at the outcome for a terrifically skilled and veteran team, falling, it seems, to some unorthodox tactics being employed by the Blue Arrows here. Hello, Name It. How you going? Hi there, Margot. How you going? We were talking about that behavior and how surprised we were at that missile behavior. And how the TAC views are going to be very revealing about what happened there. Just having a look at some internal discussion about what happened, and it seems to be the discovery of something new. But yes, Mango, once the landings have completed, there will be interviews if any of your team is available. But yes, we're all quite baffled and confused as to what the 120s were doing there. No, I understand completely, Margot. It was a terrific match for all involved. Are there any other matches getting covered today? Well, let me have a look at the schedule. No, it's just this one today, I think. The next group of matches will be next weekend. The Blue Arrows F-16 and J-11 combo are making their way down to the runway. Gorgeous. Are we going to see a parachute? Even better. The Snow Owls managed to secure the round. So, who's left to go? EW in the F-15, along with NKVD in the J-11.
Hi.
Hello, Blaze. How are you going? Welcome in from TAW. We have Blaze with us at the moment. How are you guys feeling after that one? Very strange match.
Thanks for welcoming. Yeah, I think none of us are feeling very good at the moment. It's been a tough fight. Unfortunately, we're missing two of our key pilots today, which made it very difficult.
And their names are, for people who aren't familiar.
That would be the leader, Red Core 6, and one of our other very skilled pilots, Larkside Bob. So yeah, unfortunately,
Absolutely.
we were a bit short. We were a bit short-handed today, but we tried our best with the people that were available. And
yes,
I think
and performed extremely well. But I think, judging by the reactions of all of the people who are watching, we ran into some unexpected behaviour with the J11's at high altitude with ECM. Is that something that your team knew about beforehand? This is the first time I've seen missiles do that, especially at those kinds of ranges. And I'm wondering if there's something that's changed or something different about DCS recently.
So I didn't quite catch your point. What did you say? That like how were the missiles strange, or what was exactly? I didn't really understand.
Like, do you know what was happening that was causing the missiles to miss from those ranges?
Honestly, not sure. We suspect something about the ECM, to be honest. But this was also making it really hard for us because we took a lot of shots that should have been certain kills, and they weren't, and it was really hard to work around that. I don't really know what happened, to be honest. I would have to see the tech view. Personally, I had multiple positions where somebody should have been dead very easily, and they didn't even necessarily defend or not appropriately, I would say, and they just got away with it. So yeah, I don't know.
I would be really curious to hear what the takeaways are after you get a chance to look at the TAC views. It would be I would like to hear what you think about it afterwards, because I don't understand what happened, and I didn't understand how it worked, but it clearly was something that they were able to do reliably, which is very impressive. Also, hello Tech, how are you?
Hi, Tech.
But yes, it was a brilliant fight. The second round, absolutely spectacular. Spectrum managing to take out the last remaining members of a burning F-16 and a J11, and unfortunately just not quite having the fuel to make it home. Has to be one of the most heartbreaking sights I've ever seen. It was absolutely heartbreaking. But what a match by Spectrum. You must pass on our congratulations on that absolutely fantastic performance.
Yeah, I will for sure. Thank you.
Great match, guys. Sorry to interrupt a little bit. Regarding the jammers, you know, DCS is kind of updating all the time, and things can change several times during 3 months. And regarding the jammers, we have already rules set for it. So if the community feel that the jammers are game breaking, and if we find, you know, that they are, then squads can agree to fly without them. And I think if we find them game breaking, people would agree to fly without them. No one wants to kind of, you know. But from another perspective regarding this match, I think both of you guys were using not similar, but aircrafts that have approximately same features regarding blinking. You were unable to blink with jammers as F-16 could, but not allowed to, or F-18. And both sides, I guess, were using jammers. It seems that one side was more unlucky regarding that point. But we will look into it regarding some issues that, or some concerns that have been raised. Thank you, TAW, and everyone, and Blue Arrows for participating, and we're really enjoying hosting you and watching you. It's a blast. I think you guys just had a bad day. I'll catch you next match. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Tech.
Thank you, guys. See
well,
you.
From Blue Arrows here, we have Name It. Welcome in. Congratulations on the victory. Are you able to let us in on your secret? How are the J11s getting away with from the missiles?
I don't really know. Maybe it's just he's too high and too fast, and the missile cannot hit him because they could not reach him, I think.
I did notice that the J11s being brought by the Snow Owl Squadron painted J11s, they weren't bringing R73s on their wings. Is the weight reduction and less drag actually that much worth it, taking off those missiles?
Yes, it's about drags. Actually, the R73s have really, really high drags, and so without them, they could fly really, really much faster. They have tested.
Absolutely. And if you were, Blaze, in this instance, capable of going back and refighting this fight, what do you think, especially with the quirkiness that we've run into, what do you think you would do differently? Do you think there would be more Fox 1s on the field, or there would be some other way of counterplaying it? Or was that going to need a little bit more thought?
Sorry, were you asking me? I thought
I
you
was,
were.
yes, Blaze.
Okay.
Just what you would do differently if you had the chance to fight this match again.
So I'm not quite sure. What we try to do as the rounds progress is, I think already in the second round we understood that being high and fast is not necessarily impactful to the round, so we tried to cut back a little bit on that. And then I think we took that another step on the round 3, just to have more fuel to be able to sustain the fight longer. And I think that kind of was working. But I think there were some mistakes that basically made it difficult in the end, because we lost 1 or 2 guys, I think, quite early, and then after that it was very difficult to basically maintain the fight going.
Still an amazing performance for TAW, considering the absence of 2 key members of the team. I think that everyone will be very proud of your performance, and it'll be interesting having a chance to look at the TAC views and see what we learn from them. But thank you very much for being with us and for flying with us, and to all of your teammates, Blaze. If there's anything you'd like to say or any shout-outs you'd like to make, please feel free to go ahead.
You're doing a great job with the stream, so we're appreciating that, and hoping for a lot of success for you guys, and also congrats to the Blue Arrow guys for a good fight today.
Thanks, Blitz. But I have to say your fighting is very with your own style, so you make the fast or rapid attack. So I think it's really strong and it's really fast. We have thought about it and we made some tactics to beat it.
Yeah. Did you watch TAW's strategy? Did Blue Arrows have a plan just for TAW? Because TAW has competed in so many competitions and is such a experienced and veteran team that they have plenty of history that you can go and look through. What did you think about TAW as you were facing them for the Blue Arrows? What was the plan?
Yes, for sure that the TAW is a really great team, and they are the champion of SATAC 2023. And so we made a lot of work for them, and I have to say, good game. Yeah.
Well, what a terrific compliment to receive as a team, to be considered the gold standard in the competition to train against and plan for. So I think that's something that TAW ought to feel very proud of. And for you, the Blue Arrows, if there are any shout-outs you'd like to make or anything you'd like to say, we will let you say that, and then I think we'll close up for the day.
Yes, one thing I have to say, our captain told me, is that actually most Chinese players, they play the J11 quite well, I have to say, because it's a Chinese play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's all.
No worries then.
Thanks for your participation.
Thank you very much, guys. Blaze, name it, thank you for taking a moment to speak with us, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Thank you. Good night, guys.
Good night.
All right, guys, thank you very much. What a thrilling match. What an interesting match. I think that was something really special. You don't get a SATAC match like that every time. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching, and thank you for participating, TAW and Blue Arrows. It was a pleasure to have you. And that's it for today. Don't forget to interact with all of the links for the SATAC organisers that has been appearing in chat, including their donation link, should you feel so inclined. In addition to that, you have my socials just beneath the stream where you hit the follow button if you would like to. You can join in on my Discord and you can follow me on my Twitter so that you get kept in the loop for any SATAC matches that I host. Other than that, I have nothing left to do except wish you a happy Sunday and a good week to come with plenty of more SATAC left to go. Thanks, guys, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.